In the introduction to Paul's letter to the Galatians, he writes these words, and we read them in verses 8 and 9 of chapter 1. But even if we or an angel from heaven should preach to you a gospel contrary to the one we preach to you, let him be accursed. As we have said before, so now I say again, if anyone is preaching to you a gospel contrary to the one you received, let him be accursed. Redundant speech is often annoying. I mean, who wants to hear people constantly repeat themselves? Yet there is a place for it, especially when there's a point that one needs to drive home to the hearer. Such is the case in scriptures. When we see things that are repeated, words and especially phrases, we must take note. Here Paul made a statement twice. He wrote that if one preaches a gospel contrary to the truth, the hearer was to consider that preacher or teacher accursed. In the writing, Paul indicated that he and the others with him had previously warned the churches regarding this serious issue, and now the warning needed to be repeated. In Paul's day, as well as today and all ages, false teachers have beat the trail and the airwaves nowadays with heretical teachings. The problem with this is that they lead people to destruction with their words. The phrase, let him be accursed, is a strong term. It is a command, a continuous command. The word accursed, anathema, used here and elsewhere in the New Testament, refers to anything doomed to destruction. Those who would preach a gospel message that is contrary to the truth, a message that one's hope is in anything other than Jesus Christ and his finished work on the cross, is a deadly heresy. And to hold to such a false gospel is to have false hope, and the one who believes such a message is likewise destined to eternal punishment, just as the one preaching such a message. Now, there are many variations of the gospel that have been preached throughout history and are being preached in many cases today as well. And the list is long, but here are just a couple so that you know where we're going with this. One such false teaching is that Jesus is not fully God. Another is that he's not fully human. That was one that was taught a lot in the early days in biblical times. Another is that doing good works can secure a place in heaven when a person dies. And another one is some believe that one must combine good works with faith in Jesus to be justified before God. It's sort of a hybrid system. In this letter, Paul points out the specific heresies that plague the churches in Galatia. Yet more importantly, Paul presented the theological truths essential to the gospel. Remember that it is the truth that will set people free. It's only possible to discern error if you know what the truth is. Now take a bank teller, for an example. One of the problems that have plagued societies throughout history is that of counterfeiting money. And tellers are trained to be able to identify certain characteristics of genuine bills in order to readily spot out the counterfeit. Our government has gone to great lengths to print our bills with unique features on unique paper so that they can be verified as genuine. Tellers learn to identify the real things so that they will be suspicious of anything that varies from the genuine, the real deal. Now, as mentioned in the previous devotion, believers need to have an in-depth understanding of the doctrines of the gospel, including the biblical text for these teachings. They must know the truth. Yet, unfortunately, there are many biblically illiterate believers in the church today. In churches, there are churches that spend very little time in equipping believers in these core doctrines. Yes, time is at a premium, but is anything more important than equipping the flock like a bank teller to know the truth, to be able to identify that which is false? Being grounded in the core beliefs of the faith is valuable for more than just guarding against the false, though. It's profitable for many other areas. It will give a greater assurance to a person of his or her salvation. It will better equip and give confidence to the parishioner in personal evangelism. It will also work to develop the believers so they may be able to better disciple others so they will know the truth as well. Let us really consider equipping believers and being equipped as believers so that we can guard our hearts against that which is false and hold on to the truth.